give us your thoughts on how this problem with the law officers and perhaps perhaps you feel that Mr. Power and co were challenging this, and that's fed into this, how this BDO report came about, because again, that's what we're here, specifically the BDO. Can you give us your thoughts on how that may have contributed?
There's no question other than that the actions of Mr. Power and Mr. Harper, being they were both clearly absolutely straight, impeccably professional, tough, no-nonsense, ethical individuals. They were bringing something to the policing function in Jersey, which probably the policing function in Jersey has never ever had in the entire 800-year history of the place. Seriously. And that is a policing function, as Mr. Power has alluded to, I think, and maybe Mr. Harper as well, several occasions in their evidence. They were bringing to the policing function in Jersey what it should be, an objective policing function that's designed to enforce the law. And if that means having to prosecute the government, having to prosecute the Health and Social Services Department or the Education Department, or prosecuting senior civil servants, or prosecuting politicians, then that's what they'll do. And that's what a policing function should do. It is not the job of the police to give a monkeys about how all this might look politically for the government. And it's absolutely quite wrong indeed for the police force to bear in mind those kind of considerations. Their job to enforce the law. Has a government department been acting criminally? Yes, right, okay, we want them charged, we want them prosecuted. It's as simple as that. And this has never happened before. In all, both states and honorary policing, the entire history of the policing function in Jersey, there has never ever been a policing function that has defied the power core in Jersey, the oligarchy. And this absolutely terrified the Jersey establishment, terrified them. And one of the reasons it terrified them is because obviously a lot of the things that the police were investigating, Mr. Power and Mr. Harper were investigating, were crimes that had actually been reported in many ways and on many occasions to the Jersey's authorities previously, but had been covered up, had been ignored by previous police forces, both states and honorary, and in certain cases had been previously buried by previous attorney generals. And this potentially was a popular tip to the very survival and the very credibility of the Jersey establishment. So they had to do something, hence the insane, disastrous mess that the island's in today, and the panic and the ludicrous megalomania and the errors of judgment that we've seen on the part of the establishment. But it wasn't only the child protection failures, of course. The prospect of having a police force, as was so infamously described back, I think it was in 2008, having a police force that was not in political control, the police force out of political control. The great fear of that for the Jersey establishment was that suddenly all the other crimes that are customarily buried in Jersey might start getting the lid peeled off of them too. I mean, for example, isn't it? It's quite amazing, isn't it? Jersey's never had an example of planning corruption. There's only two possible explanations for that. Either Jersey's filled with people who are entirely unique in the entire history of the human race, and we're unique in all of modern society, or it's because planning corruption may well be endemic in Jersey, which had never been investigated and prosecuted. And I think I know which my mind is on being a rationalist. I think I know what the more rational explanation is. And indeed, the part of the evidence that you had submitted to you is in fact Mr. Power referred to his affidavit that he prepared for me to assist me in the malicious prosecution mounted against me. And he refers to a particular episode in there where he was basically he was effectively being subjected to attempts to coerce him into not investigating allegations of planning corruption, credible allegations of planning corruption being put to him. And he was absolutely standing to his professional duty, and he was absolutely rejecting these improper pressures, and he was saying, no, these are serious matters, prosecutions will be for you to decide, or whatever, at the end of the day. This is a serious matter. It's my job. Please have this investigated. And the final words of the Attorney General, William Ballash, to him were, so be it. A few days later, Mr. Powell was unlawfully suspended. And I explain that because it shows that it wasn't only just the getting ripped off of the child protection frameworks that the authorities were scared of. They were scared, terrified of the whole concept, this massive culture shock of suddenly an independent police force. And it's not just a political argument. There are actual, real, living, breathing victims out there. People who were failed as children and who since have been failed again and again and again by Jersey's public administration and failed by the media too. And the failure of the media in Jersey is catastrophic. And the media is absolutely a part of Jersey's political establishment. It is absolutely a key part of the source of power.